La Biennale on Air. Welcome to La Biennale on Air, the official monthly podcast of La Biennale di Venezia. In under 13 minutes, we take you behind the scenes of our 130-year-old institution, uncovering both well-known and hidden stories. You'll hear from remarkable guests across all our disciplines: art, architecture, cinema, dance, music, theatre, and the historical archive. To understand the present, we need to revisit the past. So we bring you exclusive gems from the collections of our historical archive. But we're also looking ahead, spotlighting fresh perspectives and new voices. And yes, there will be surprises along the way. March is here, which means two huge reasons to celebrate. First, a landmark moment for La Biennale di Venezia, as the central pavilion at the Giardini has just completed a major renovation, gleaming and gearing up for Biennale Arte 2026. And second, International Women's Day. So this episode is unapologetically powered by women, visionary women, fearless women, women who create, lead, and give birth to ideas, and yes, the world itself, often flipping the rules upside down just to see what happens. We start with a mesmerizing Made in Biennale moment by the legendary Laurie Anderson, recently announced as one of the artists invited to the 61st International Art Exhibition in Minor Keys. Then we meet two newly crowned Silver Lions, choreographer Mamela Nyamza for dance and composer Davachi for music. We'll also open the upcoming issue of La Biennale di Venezia Magazine, Alphabets, with theatre and cinema trailblazer Emma Dante, Golden Lion for Lifetime Achievement of the 54th International Theatre Festival. We close with a story of faith and radical vision led by women, the testament of Anne Lee, with director Mona Fastvold and screen powerhouse Amanda Seyfried, two audacious leading figures truly shaking today's cinema. This is La Biennale on Air, a shout-out to all women. As a very famous singer once said, you really do run the world.
You've just heard the unmistakable sound of Laurie Anderson's violin, the instrument she once described as both a ventriloquist's dummy and a psychic. She can say the things that are informational, and the violin can cry. Laurie Anderson, artist, composer, poet, and filmmaker, is among the participants of In Minor Keys, the 61st International Art Exhibition curated by Koyoko. Her voice, however, has resonated throughout La Biennale for decades, across festivals and exhibitions, returning each time in new forms. There is something in her work that moves in what Koyo called the minor key, attentive, intimate, carried on lower frequencies, a way of listening that slows time. From our historical archive, we bring you a small treasure. At the Biennale Arte 2011, during the meetings on art, Laurie Anderson performed a short talk on places. She opened her lecture with a story from before the world began, a sky filled with birds, circling endlessly, with no earth beneath them. A story about loss and about the birth of memory.
I'm going to start with a little story about that, which I'm going to tell you. And it's about birds. And it's from an ancient play about birds. And the ancient play is called The Birds. And it's a short story from before the world began. From a time when there was no earth, no land, only air and birds everywhere. Birds making huge patterns in the air. But the thing was, there was no place to land because there was no land. So they just circled around and around because this was before the world began. And the sound was deafening. And songbirds were everywhere. Billions and billions and billions of birds. And one of these birds was a lark. And one day, her father died. And this was a really big problem because what should they do with the body? And there was no place to put the body because there was no earth. And finally, the lark had a solution. She decided to bury her father in the back of her own head. And this was the beginning of memory. Because before this, no one could remember a thing. They were just constantly flying in circles. Constantly flying in huge circles.
A world before the world, no ground, no place to land, until memory became that place. Within minor keys, Koyoku imagined and exhibitions are tuned to such gestures, creating spaces that allow for rest. Oases within the noise, thresholds where listening becomes grounding. The minor key refuses bombast. It moves in hums and whispers, in frequencies that ask us not to rush past. Like the lark in Laurie Anderson's story, it makes room for remembrance. It turns circling into meaning. The 61st International Art Exhibition opens this May. Until then, and throughout its unfolding, we will echo its atmosphere here, through its resonance, its constellations, and archival traces, because some voices travel like light, reaching us long after they were first set in motion.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star, I wonder where you are.
We now turn to two outstanding artists honored this year with the Silver Lion. For Biennale Danza, the award goes to Mamela Nyamza, the South African dancer, choreographer, director and activist whose work moves powerfully between classical training and contemporary experimentation, reshaping the language of dance through a deeply personal and socially engaged practice. For Biennale Musica, the Silver Lion is awarded to the Canadian composer and organist Sarah Davachi. Known for her exploration of timbre and time, her music offers an absolute and unhurried listening experience. We spoke with them about what this recognition means and asked them to share a glimpse of the pieces they will bring to Venice.
I am Mamela Nyamza from South Africa. Firstly, I would like to say thank you to Sir Wayne McGregor for this recognition. It really came as a surprise. I did not expect it. And I was like really wowed. I was so emotional when I actually received the news from him. Thanks to him and the whole team of the La Biennale in dance for actually giving me such a huge recognition in dance. Um, it really means that as an artist, for me, this award means that it's a validation that I'm in the right path regarding my artistry. I've always been either criticized for allegedly doing works that are not necessarily pleasing to the audience. And professionally, this award is rewarding my artistic efforts and truly engaging me to continue to do the choreography the way I want to. And as an artist, we must always be fresh and authentic, and this really proves that I've been actually following the right path as an artist. And it just shows that you must never actually follow the crowds. You must actually do what you believe in. So this award is a true kind of validation for me that I'm doing the right thing as an artist. And I will continue doing it. Thank you so much for the whole team of La Biennale. I am so happy as an artist. You have made my 2026 year to be like really starting it on a high. So I'm really, really thank you so much. The work I'll be premiering at the Venice Biennale this year is called The Headless. The word the head is referring to a group of animals, meaning a group of people who are just followers. Like in our lives, we have leaders that we are following, but these leaders are also clueless or headless about how to lead people. So in this work, I'm showing that in movement, in walking, and also it was inspired by different parties at home who have actually come together to create the government of national unity. So in these parties, you will find that each leader wants to lead. There's different egos. So in the work as well, you will see the artists following each other, and you will see those others who are actually coming out one by one, trying to lead. It's about who wants to follow this one, who wants to follow the other one. So it's all about following. It's all about the group of animals. And even in the Bible, they say there's a shepherd who's leading the animals, but in real life, there's a leader who's leading the people. But in real life, this leader is headless. And also they are wearing cans. They're all working on cans. So but these cans for me represent like people who are chained. So I was not literal about actually letting the dancers wear chains. They are wearing these cans. These cans, it makes them to not to move freely. It's limiting the movement. So the movement that is produced mostly is from the upper body and using sounds that are actually the aftermath of when something is said and people are shocked. You know, when you hear about deaths, women's deaths, and LGBTI deaths, and also corruption. Also in the arts, you will find that, and there's lots of corruption. We fight about funding because we have ministers who are clueless about the arts. So this is all inspired about all of these social issues that are happening in our country, but also globally, because this is what we're experiencing right now around the world, where leaders are just deciding what to do without thinking about humans. So the work is multi-layered, and we are also using sticks which represent weapons, but these weapons also have um dual meanings. There are also and the sticks that represent religion, they represent culture, but also the sticks are a form of protection. So we're trying to balance our lives, but we have nobody leading us. So this work you will see that it's kind of done in a very abstract way because they are wearing cans. They will not be able to move freely. You can't run on cans, and also we actually talk about where we come from. Some houses in South Africa are actually made out of cans. So this is also a situation that you can come out from a different house, but we can also look beautiful. That's how we are as a country. So this is the work that I will show at the Venice Biennale, hoping that people will understand it. There's culture at home. There's a history of South Africa within the very moment now, relating to what is happening in the country and globally. Yes, thank you.
My name is Sarah Davachi, and I'm a composer and performer based in Los Angeles. And I am extremely honored to be the recipient of this year's Silver Lion Award. This award means a great deal to me. Oftentimes, when you're touring or traveling around the world presenting your music live, you can get a lot of feedback and a sense of how your music is impacting your community on a broader scale. But recognitions like this really speak to the actual work and a sort of longer understanding of a practice of an artist. So to receive this just means a tremendous deal to me with the work that is so important to me that I've been doing for almost 15 years now. And at the Venice Biennale, I'm very excited to present some of my solo compositions, but also a new commission for a large ensemble, which will be in line with the theme of the Biennale, which is looking at this idea of a new way of listening with a new sense of ears and a closer way of appreciating music. And that's really at the core of what I like to do with my music, is to use minimal materials and a reduction of materials, as well as long durations and sustained sound, as a way of sort of undoing these patterns of listening that we're so accustomed to, but that block us from ways of hearing that are really important, I think. So my project, which is my practice, my musical practice, which will be reflected in this new commission at the Biennale, will focus on this new way of listening, which is very exciting.
March also marks the release of the first 2026 issue of our magazine. Its theme is the word, explored through a range of artistic forms. For the theatre section, we interviewed Emma Dante, one of Italy's most distinctive theatre and opera directors, recently named recipient of the Golden Lion for Lifetime Achievement at the forthcoming Biennale Teatro. And yet, Emma Dante has often described herself as the antithesis of the word. In her productions, language is sometimes stripped back, sometimes absent altogether. Words give way to gesture and to the body. So we asked her what kind of a relationship her characters have with words.
Perché dobbiamo parlare degli animali? Perché gli animali hanno comunque una personalità. Hanno, come diceva Anna Maria Ortese, sono delle piccole persone, hanno una faccia, hanno uno sguardo, hanno un carattere. E quindi poi alla fine per me il rapporto con l'animale in scena è fondamentale, come è fondamentale il rapporto tra l'attore
Animals
e
cannot speak, but they do have a personality nevertheless. As Anna Maria Ortega said, animals are little people. They have a face, a gaze, a character. The connection with the animal on stage is fundamental to me, as is the connection between the actor and the animal. For me, the animal, the idiot, and the child are necessary figures, as they have an unbalanced, almost non-existent relationship with the spoken word. The idiot has a totally crazy, delusional relationship with words, and he uses them inappropriately. The animal does not use them at all, and the child learns to use them. The relationship of these three beings with words passes through the body, and for me, this is the basic principle for approaching theatrical language.
Dello stato delle cose, ma le parole servono appunto ad altro, no? E questo per me è il principio fondamentale della messa in scena del teatro, di come affrontare il linguaggio teatrale.
Among Emma Dante's most striking works is La Scortecata, The Flight One, a dark fairy tale about beauty and desire loosely based on Giambattista Basile's Lo Conto dei Conti, The Tale of Tales, or Pentamerone. At its heart are two elderly sisters, isolated and unloved, longing to be seen, to be desired once more. They come to embody a society that still binds love to youth and physical appearance.
Le vecchie non possono avere desideri, questo anche un po' diceva quello spettacolo, e questo dice il conto del Pentamerone di Giambattista Basile. La scortecata, tra l'altro, è una delle sue favole più belle, proprio perché
Old women cannot have desires. La Scortecata is one of his most beautiful tales, precisely because it's about a denied desire and even about an attempt at plastic surgery in the 17th century. A Scortecata is a woman who has her old skin removed in the hope of finding new skin underneath. There are several characters in Basile's fairy tale, but in my show, I get the two protagonists to do everything. Because it's as if the old centenarians are recounting a fairy tale, spending the last days of their lives together while waiting to die.
Passando questi ultimi giorni della loro vita insieme, aspettando la morte, perché poi di questo si tratta, due vecchie centenarie che vivono in una catapecchia insieme da tutta la vita, aspettando di morire, si raccontano una favola.
Her latest production, L'Angelo del Focolare, The Angel of the Hearth, turns its gaze to another archetype, the mother, a figure burdened with an almost sacred responsibility, expected to follow every rule imposed upon her, without hesitation, and yet, even in obedience, exposed to judgment and punishment.
Investire una persona di un ruolo così importante significa toglierle la libertà, toglierle toglierle anche i sogni.
To invest a person with such an important role is to take away her freedom and her dreams. This expression, angel of the earth, seems so beautiful, so innocent. It seems as if the woman has been given a wonderful title, but it is a title in which she is stuck and will be stuck for eternity. The task is not pleasant at all. This woman must be a mother to her child, a mother to her husband, a mother to her mother-in-law, a mother to the table, to the kitchen, to the bed, a mother to actions, a mother to everything.
Delle azioni, madre di tutto. E è pesante.
After the success of The Brutalist, co-written with Brady Corbett, Norwegian filmmaker Mona Fastvold returns to the big screen with The Testament of Anne Lee. The film traces the journey of an 18th century female religious leader from Manchester to the United States, a story of faith, exile, and unwavering belief. Premiering in competition at the 82nd Venice International Film Festival, it was met with a warm response from audiences and critics alike. At the festival press conference, its lead, Amanda Seyfried, reflected on the experience.
Portraying a woman that's been through so much trauma and seeing her overcome that and have this vision and this devotion to God and also portraying a woman at the end of the day, someone who felt like I have space in this world too as a woman and a child of God to serve people, and in a world where just women did not lead, was just made it all easier. But yeah, it was hard. It was great though. It was so enlightening, and it was also incredibly, I don't know, therapeutic. The sounds, the animal sounds you're referring to, that Daniel so magically made sound beautiful and full of passion. I don't know, it all felt cathartic too.
Though set in the past, the testament of Anne Lee feels uncannily present. Speaking at the Lido, Mona Fastvold described the challenge at its heart. How do you tell a story rooted in another century and still make it speak urgently to our own?
I think maybe the contemporary aspects of it is in the intimacy between the characters. I think we are used to seeing period pieces where everyone is very buttoned up and held, and they don't engage physically with one another. So even though this is a film where this community ends in celibacy, they weren't puritanical. They're not like the Quakers. They were, there's so much ecstasy and joy and love between them, and that's my interpretation of them, and that's what I wanted to show, was this, that they're always, they're holding on to one another, they're being physical with one another, even though it's non-sexual. So I think the movement brings a contemporary nature to it all, because we were, and the music, of course. I think that combination probably makes it more contemporary, but it didn't feel like a hard thing to balance, because as Celia said as well, with both Daniel, Celia, the cast, Brady and I, all of us, we had a very specific set of rules for what everything meant, because we're not just improvising movement. We have a movement language. We're not just improvising sounds. We have a language for these sounds. Everything is prayer, and everything has a meaning. So those were the parameters that we were working within.
And that's it for this month's loud, proud, totally necessary salute to women and the voices, visions, and vibes they bring to La Biennale's universe. Perfectly timed for the International Women's Day. From Laurie Anderson's otherworldly acoustic realms to Mamela Nyamza's fearless movement. From Sarah Davachi's hypnotic compositions to Emma Dante's fiery theatre and Mona Fastvold's cinematic storytelling. This episode proves one thing. When women take the mic, the arts don't just shine, they roar. And Venice isn't resting either. Just a few days ago, during the press conference unveiling the programs for the theatre, dance and music departments, we got a first look at what's ahead. The 54th International Theatre Festival from the 7th to the 21st of June. The 20th International Festival of Contemporary Dance from the 17th of July to the 1st of August. And the 70th International Festival of Contemporary Music from the 10th to the 24th of October. 3 festivals, countless performances, and zero chance of boredom. Keep your eyes on our website and social media channels for updates, insights, and behind-the-scenes magic. In the meantime, want a taste of La Biennale at home? Head to our online Biennale store, where you'll find all our publications and the latest issues of La Biennale di Venezia magazine, including the freshly printed Alphabets. 1 issue, a full subscription. We won't judge. Think of it as a personal slice of Venetian creativity for your bookshelf. Finally, to wrap up, cheers to all the women making waves, breaking molds, and turning every stage, screen, and soundscape into something unforgettable. Until next time, keep your curiosity switched on and your ears wide open. This is La Biennale on Air. Catch you later. A big ciao from Venice. La Biennale on Air is a podcast produced by La Biennale di Venezia. The voices you are hearing are those of Elia Lotauro
and Matilde Vigna.
Mixing and audio editing are by Citre Tecnologie ed Organizzazione SRL. The podcast is curated by the editorial activities and web office and the press office of La Biennale di Venezia. Cesare Bisantis, Valentina Campana, Claudia Gioia, Ornella Mogno, and Marta Zannoner.